also get him a free case of beer from Kenny Bernstein. I guarantee you, that's Melanie Troxel as you're looking into her eyes as she is focused on the burnout. She goes through the water and she'll be in the right lane. Corey McClenathan will be over in the left lane. Corey Mack.
Tony asking what he ran, a 475 consistent.
Yeah, very consistent. You know, same as the first run. I was in a little shallower, but hey, for the U.S. Army, this is a big one for us because we're in Las Vegas. You know, we've never done real well here. We got a lot of guys from the Army here. We got a lot of guys from Matco Tools and Gates, Belts and Hoses, all the people that support us. Lucas is here, but the United States Army with Dulles Air Force Base right here, the soldiers that are here from all the branches are really supporting us. We're pulling for the United States team.
Guys, take a look at the points. This is another one of those cars bunched right up near the top.
Yeah, and the rounds are starting to really take on some reflections of how the movement's going to shake out here as we're in the fourth race of 24 in the NHRA Powerade Drag Racing Series. Now, back to the battle at hand.
You know, Corey Mack here, he's got to go out there and try to do the same thing he did first round. Just go out there, cut a decent light, run that 473. Melanie, on the other hand, they got to get that car back on track, but she's also got to be ready. She knows it spun the tires around before. She was a little bit late, probably because she was a little bit rusty. She did a good job, but I've seen Melanie do better, and I think this is from the time of being out of the car for so long.
Well, she lost her first ever Top Fuel race to Corey at the Winter Nationals back in 2000, and her first final to Corey at the end of 2000 at Dallas. Going to go down again. Corey Mack, 476, 303. That will give him lane choice over Kenny Bernstein. So the beer wagons are not going to have lane choice, either of them.
Well, here we see Melanie in super slow-mo. She got the car off the starting line, then it looked like it probably went into tire shake. Right there, you can see the tires shaking severely, drives right up into the smoke. Obviously, it's too late by now. Corey didn't have any problems except for a cylinder that went out down track. That slowed him down a little bit, but still a 476 is a good win.
There's the semifinal matchup, and you can see Tony Schumacher with the lane choice as Corey McClenathan has the same over Kenny Bernstein. Stay with us when we come back. We'll have funny car action from the third running of the SummitRacing.com Nationals. And we're back at the SummitRacing.com Nationals. And, of course, the only thing slow and steady about our race today is the Sanyo Lightship. Overhead pictures brought to us courtesy of Sanyo and the Sanyo Lightship team. Glad to have you guys doing a great job up there. Just watch out for those fighter tips, will you? Down trackside, we've got Tim Wilkerson and Ron Capps backing up after the burnout. And let's go to the far end first, Bill.
Let's see, if memory serves, the last time you were here in 2000, you went to the semifinal. That was your first semifinal of the year that year for Joe Gibbs. So history's sort of repeating itself here.
You know, sometimes you got to take a year off just to kind of regroup, I guess, and I did a whole lot of regrouping last year. But I'll tell you, we couldn't do it without Centennial Batteries and Waterloo Industries. I mean, these people are jumping up, and they're spending more money to make sure we can keep going racing. Hinkle and Ibaka, thank you very much.
4 races, 3 semis.
I'll tell you what, the team is working out real well right now. Now back to the battle at hand. Ron Capps has never lost to Tim Wilkerson. He's 5 up, 0 down. Joining us in the booth, Cruz Pedregon. Couldn't stay away, could you?
Hello, everybody.
This one's about ready to go. We'll talk to you in a second, Cruz. Guess what? Wilkerson's off the schneid, 498, and he has his first victory over Ron Capps. So Capps, who won here in the fall event, is on the trailer, and you get a chance now to see. Where's your coat and tie, buddy?
Well, hey, just got my Advanced Auto Parts shirt on here. Missed you guys, though.
Well, yeah, but we don't like to see the reason why you were here. What happened yesterday in that last round?
Well, we didn't qualify, and we just missed the setup all weekend. I think our approach coming into this race was just off. We never really adjusted for the high altitude up here. And, hey, no excuses. You know, I had a good talk with the crew chief and the consultant, and we just have to keep our focus and do what we did at Gainesville. We had such a good race at Gainesville. You know, we were coming on strong and looking good, and we did have breakage on one run, but hey, I'm up here in the booth, and for all of our sponsors, you know, Advanced Auto Parts, I just want to say, hey, I don't want to make this a habit being up here in the booth, but I do enjoy it. Marty, Mike, watch you guys all the time. You guys are doing a great job.
I'm going to put you to work. Let's take a look at replay here and put you back on the old telestrator. Go for it, Zorro.
Well, what I see here, the track's heating up, but I'm really impressed with this car over here, Tim Wilkerson. Look at that car. That car has been on a string. I've heard Mike Dunn talk about it this week, and that car is really doing the number there. Ron Capps just flat. Looks like he just obviously smoked the tires, and let's see what's going on with Ron Capps here. He just drove into it there, but the track is a little hotter. But, man, let's give credit to Tim Wilkerson. That's a hard-working group of guys over there. Let's have a cylinder out over there. But, hey, on to the next round.
Let's go to the far end, Bill.
Well, yesterday you said you've always had a car that runs before Sunday, and now today you got one that's running.
Well, like I said this morning, we really need just to keep our heads together out here and not lose the race. We just feel like we're going to try and make somebody beat us, and I'm sure there's plenty of cars out there that's going to be faster than us today, but we're going to take our, our deal and we'll go down through there, and hopefully everything's going to work out the best. But, we got the folks from Levi Ran Shop behind us. We're real happy about that and Powerade in the series. I don't think you're going to get a better combination than that, so we're looking for the next round.
Well, I'll tell you, when he does well, a lot of people in the grandstands get excited.
Well, one of the benefits of having a two-car team, Ace McCullough putting some things into play after watching his driver Ron Capps smoke in the very same lane just a moment ago. Took the cover off the top of the timing system. Was able to make a few nozzle adjustments. His only hopes is he's able to reel that car in enough. Keeps the heights glued to this racetrack. Parker?
This year, Dave, Gary Selzy's been able to depend on his great driving ability, the preparation of the Alan Johnson crew, and the fact that his white-capped Toyota funny car would drive hard right off the line. Well, as we've talked about earlier in the weekend, they've made some frame adjustments. And when I spoke to Gary, he said, now, I'm not sure exactly what this car will do. It goes straight, it goes left, it goes right. And I guess Mike Dunn and Cruz Penrion, I got to ask you, what's it like to come into eliminations not knowing exactly what this car is going to do? Is it like starting the season all over?
Well, Gary's a professional. I mean, he's won 3 championships in the top fuel category. He knows what to do. This is one of those things when you're always steering it to the left when it wants to go right, then they get the car going straight. The first couple runs, you're going to want to lead it toward the left, and that gets them a little bit of a problem there.
Well, the changes must have worked for Tommy Johnson, a 5:20 at 2:48, as it wasn't that quick, but it gets the job done. Take a look at what happens to Gary Selzy, guys.
Well, he's going to pop in a wheelie here, Mike, and look at the Toyota car leave the line there, and it's going to look at that left front dangle. He shakes the tires. He pedals the car. The reason why it's smoking the tires, it's starting to apply clutch. And when it applies the clutch and you don't have the speed going, it'll try to climb what we climb the ring gear and do him a wheel stand there. But by that time, Tommy Johnson was down to the finish line. And looks like Tommy Johnson had a belt or something come down because he only ran a 5:20 at 2:48. But that Skull car's into the semifinals.
And Tommy Johnson, who celebrated his 34th birthday, is halfway home to defending his race win here from last year. Stay with us. Let's go to the far end as we get ready for the next pair. Bill, what's going on?
Oh, let's hear it for that Ace McCullough 5:20, 2:48 tune-up, huh?
I'll tell you what, we are in Vegas, right? And you might want to be lucky here in this town. So the Skull Blue team was a little bit on the lucky side that time. We've been struggling and having nothing but bad luck. So it's about time we got a little good luck, And Gary's a great team, and we needed a little luck. And Ron didn't have any, and I had a little bit on my side. So at least we got one Skull car in the semifinals.
Yeah, this is the only event on the tour where Tommy is in the defending event champion for down the Snake for Dome. He's making the most of it.
Back at the starting line, John Force and Del Worsham. They've each won one final this year against the other. This is a big round for Del. At the stripe, the win light, Del Worsham, 498 in a whole shot. 497 for John Force. Win number 100 is going to have to wait again. And for a guy who had never won a round of racing at Las Vegas, guys, he's just won the biggest round, and everybody in the pits is going to be thanking him because he punched out the points leader.
This is a great win for Del. Gets the jump off the line, 491 to a 507. Still close, side by side, locked together all the way down the track. Perfect combination, I think, for both cars for these conditions. John starts burning it up a little bit towards the end, and that was enough for Del just to squeak by to get the win.
This is where a driver makes all the difference. A bunch of people say about what can a driver contribute to a victory? Well, Dale Worsham made the difference right there. Both cars virtually evenly matched, and John Forth, I knew was going to lose the race when I saw that cylinder out at about 1,000 foot, but hey, that's a big win for Dale Worsham. Let's give him credit.
Take a look at the incrementals, and the biggest number is that reaction time up there. That 491 to the 507 was just enough for Dale Worsham to get the win. Dave Reef?
Well, for Chuck Worsham and Dell, it's 2 Mustangs down. We're going to pause it. How about it, Chuck? What a round win, especially after breaking that crank trigger in round 1. That's your lucky round. You just got a good one right there.
Yeah, you know, Dale did a great job of driving. We kind of just stuck to our guns from our tune-up from round 1, and then Rob made a good call on the clutch. You know, RCS Casey can't be happier.
From the burn box, let's head to the far end.
Dale Worsham, once again, you beat John Force and robbed him with a shot at a 100 national event win.
I'll tell you what, we're just out there doing the best job we can. He's a great competitor, and that first round, you know, we had some ignition problems, and it takes a lucky round to win these things, you know. And when that happened, I thought, you know, maybe, hey, it could be our day. And Checkers Chuck Scraggin, great job. John Force, great competitor. We've had a heck of a year already. I feel like it's finals and it's only the beginning.
On a hole shot, John. The kid did it to you.
Hey, what can you say? He did his job. Our car went right down the alley. Just didn't perform for the sponsors. So we'll get ready to Houston, for Houston. Be testing here in Vegas tomorrow, and we'll try to get it at Houston.
Hold on to your tickets. It ain't over yet.
Well, Dale Worsham, take a look at the margin of victory. Right there, you can see the white stripe. Dale Worsham punched out Tony Pedregon in the first round, despite the ignition problem. And now John Force. That leaves Gary Dencham in the left lane, the only Force team member left. He's up against Johnny Lawson.
Big lead for Dencham.
Boy, he had 8 100s in the bank, and he ends up in a whole shot win, a 501 to a 5 flat. So Dencham keeps Team Force hopes alive, running 308 miles an hour, but it won't be good enough for lane choice. Time to say goodbye. See you next race at Houston, and I have a feeling you're going to get the handle on this.
We will. Yeah, we'll get the advanced car going again. Man, I'm all excited, pumped up here, but hey, we'll be back at the track. Stay tuned. Next week, we'll be there.
All right, let's take a look at the matchups as we head towards the semifinals in Funny Car. And you can see it'll be the lane choice, Dale Worsham over Gary Dencham. And then Tim Wilkerson has the choice over Tommy Johnson. Stay with us when we come back. Factory Hot Rods coming your way. Pro Stop. Let's take a look at the ladder now in Pro Stock, the Factory Hot Rods, and you can see it's going to be Ron Krischer with the lane choice over Jake Coughlin. Jim Yates has the choice over Tom Hammonds. That'll be our first pair coming up. Mike Edwards with the choice over George Marnell, and WJ and Darrell Alderman meet again. First up, Jim Yates. He'll be in the left lane up against Tommy Hammonds. Hammonds was the runner-up here at the fall race. Yates was the runner-up here just 1 year ago to Jake Coughlin.
You know, both these drivers are pretty evenly matched. 440 light in the first round for Hammonds, 460 for Jim Yates. Jim Yates has a little bit of edge on the horsepower up to this point, but we'll see what happens this time. Nobody wants to stage.
Here we go.
Don't you love these guys?
Who's going to go in first? Looks like it's going to be Hammonds. Or pardon me, Yates. Hammonds has 4 100s in the bank, but not enough horsepower. 701 at 196. Jim Yates takes out Tom Hammonds with a 708 at 195. Let's go to Dave Reef.
Talk a little bit about Dale Worsham and their lucky fortune in round 1. You can see they're back working hard to get ready for the semifinal run, but both myself and Dale talked about an ignition problem that they had in round 1. You recall they only ran 523 in beating Tony Pedregon. The problem is right here, this is that crank trigger. And what it does is it sends a spark over to the magnetos. Well, one of the magnetos wasn't firing, so that car ran 523 on only one magneto, and that's their lucky break that they're hoping to ride all the way to the finals here today.
Every now and then, you need a little luck.
Yeah, you know, and what happens when that thing runs only on one mag, normally the engines, if they go to 8,000 RPM, they'll usually only go to about 7,600 RPM all the way down. It just makes the car a slug.
George Marnell, Las Vegas resident, 52-year-olds picked up sponsorship from Matco Tools for the rest of the season. Mike Edwards will be over in the left lane. Both these cars use rear and Morrison horsepower. And George beat Edwards back in round 2 at Pomona on his way to the victory there. And this could be a really good race. Watch the reaction time because both these guys are good on the lights.
Yeah, definitely two of the best on the lights. George Marnell's been just mowing the tree down all year. Mike Edwards, never any slouch. This is probably going to be decided on the starting line.
No, something happens to Edwards, and Marnell goes through at a 7:03 at 196 miles an hour. Let's go to the far end to Bill.
I just told Jim Yates that Tom Hammonds had 400s on the tree. I didn't believe it, but you got around him anyway.
I tell you, that's that split fire spark plug power. You know, Bob Ingles, Jamie Yates, and Rich Purdy and Al are doing a great job with the car back there, and they got this split fire Grand Am running pretty good.
At this race last year, Jim was the #1 qualifier, lost to Jeggy in the final round on a hole shot.
Speaking of hole shots, the last time Darrell Alderman hooked up with Warren Johnson, Darrell won on a hole shot. That was back at Gainesville. He went on to win the event. WJ in the right lane, Darrell in the left.
You know, these guys race each other hard, and there's no love lost between either one of these guys. It's going to be interesting. I think Warren's, well, Darrell's already in. Look at that.
At the stripe, Darrell Alderman, 7:03, a hole shot win back-to-back. The times he has faced the Professor. He cuts a 451 light to a 467 for the Professor, and he wins it, 7:03 to a 7:02.
You know, Darrell went in and put both lights on, and I don't know if that threw Warren off or not. I don't think it did. He still had a 467. That's not a bad light. Darrell, on the other hand, had that 451. It was just enough to get that win, as you see the difference here right at the stripe.
And let's go to Parker Johnstone. He's caught up with Tommy Johnson.
Catching up with TJ as he's packing his chute. You notice that old saying, I'd rather be lucky than good any day? Seems luck played a little bit of that last round win, didn't it?
The school teams have both been lucky here. We won both races last year, and when we haven't been lucky, we've been good, and today we've been both.
Now, what happened to keep you from breaking the tires loose like your teammate did, Ron Capps?
Now, we saw Ron do that. We knew he had a little different setup, but mine went out there and dropped a hole, and probably took some power away from it, so I didn't overpower the track and didn't drop a hole, but got ugly results at the other end with the engine, though.
Getting ready for the next round.
Back at the starting line, Jake Coughlin Jr. in the left lane, up against #1 qualifier Ron Krischer, and Jeggy is going to have to cut a good light. Krischer's got the horsepower advantage. Dead even off the line. Say goodnight, Jeggy. Krischer runs a 699 again. He's the only car that's able to put it in the sixes on this very hot day in Las Vegas. A 7:05 for Jeg. He's going to put him on the trailer. So Krischer cuts a better light and moves on here at Las Vegas. You know, Kenny Bernstein has announced that he's going to retire from active competition at the end of this season. A remarkable 30-year run, includes 6 total NHRA championships. We sat down with the King of Speed at his California home to discuss how his racing career began back in West Texas as we look at today's Powerade profile.
It all started when I was a youngster. I got the bug pretty early. I actually started with quarter midgets and half midget. We had a little quarter-mile asphalt racetrack there, and that's where I started in Lubbock, Texas. West Texas is where I grew up. When I was about 14 or 15, I had a Model A that we drug home. Of course, we didn't have driver's license, and so we got in a lot of trouble with that. Drag racing kind of evolved because in West Texas, if you didn't have a hot rod, you just probably didn't exist in West Texas at that time. Racing and drag racing was really a hobby. We did it just for fun. We did it on the weekends. We worked during the week and then loaded it on a trailer after work on Friday and drove to either Oklahoma City or Tulsa or Abilene, Odessa, you know, any of those places around. I was always the designated driver. I was the one that always didn't mind getting the tickets, I guess, because I always got stuck driving. 6 of you are sleeping in one room, half of us on the floor, and you go, actually, that was kind of fun. You drive back Sunday night, and of course, everybody's wore out and get in at 3 or 4 in the morning, go to work the next day. And luckily, in the late 70s, I was fortunate to be able to put together a first-class funny car team. And at that time was when I realized that there might be a chance that you could do this for a living. I always dreamed of that, but I never thought it would ever happen. My dad was in the department store business and the clothing business, so I grew up in the stock room. It wasn't how did you do in school days, how much did you sell today? That's just the way it was. How in the world could I not be so happy and proud of being able to do this for 20-something years and make a living out of it? That's what my dream was. You got lucky to get it done. I mean, what a great deal that is. What a great country.
I guarantee you he doesn't sleep on the motel room floor anymore. Take a look at just what he does here at Las Vegas. In 3 races, he has 2 wins, a runner-up, on the pole twice, and scored a total of 333 out of 414 available points. So now it's time to find out if Kenny Bernstein can continue that great run of success here at Las Vegas Motor Speedway at the Strip. And Bill, what is happening at the far end?
Well, this is going to be an interesting race right here, Marty. Corey McClenathan went to the semifinals to begin the year in Pomona, lost in the first round in Phoenix, went to the semis again in Gainesville. Both times he lost in the semis, and both times it was to Kenny Bernstein. Parker?
And Bill, Corey Mack's crew said they feel a little bit like the Rodney Dangerfields of Top Fuel. They told me they just don't want to be a temporary thorn in everyone's side. They think they can take on the beer wagons and have a legitimate run for the championship. Dave?
Parker, these are the first 2 guinea pigs on a track that was just scraped out past the 60-foot line. Now what happens is that rubber builds up and it almost acts like moisture. It can slide around underneath these tires. So the problem now exists that these crew chiefs have to come up here, Mike. So from a driver's standpoint, is this really going to affect this race, that track scrape?
Usually the track scrape will actually make the track better. You don't want to get too much rubber buildup. It gets too greasy, and that rubber has a tendency to move when you get too much buildup. So a little bit of rubber is a good thing. Too much, not so good. So they'll be just fine.
Kenny Bernstein is 17 up and 11 down in his head-to-head matchups against Corey McClenathan over the years. He'll be in the right lane. Corey Mack in the left lane. McClenathan of 470 is going to his 39th career Top Fuel final at the expense of the Budweiser King.
All right, let's watch this on replay from the blimp if we can. You're going to see Corey Mack. Didn't have the reaction time, but I think Kenny was in a little bit deep, but that was all she wrote. From 60 feet on, Corey just opened it up, got the win. Let's look on board camera. You're going to see the cars lead together, and then about 200 feet out, Corey just starts opening it up. Nice smooth run, did just exactly what he wanted to do. Super slow-mo here, picks the front end up, drops her back down. She's planted good. Car's not moving around hardly at all. That's what you want to look for. You want that thing to just stay planted, stay in the groove. She's arcing up there pretty good, planting that rear tire, get that traction, get the win.
And let's go to Dave.
Well, down with Wes Cerny, and all this team wanted was a little bit of respect and, of course, a lot of revenge. How big was that round against Kenny Bernstein? You can't hear me imagine that. Hey, the cars are fired. All I know is these guys are very, very fired up. You saw that when they jumped up after Corey took the win.
All right, thanks, Dave. Wes Cerny going to go back and get ready. Now you're looking into the eyes of the Army of One, Tony Schumacher. He has got the lane choice over Larry Dixon. He's over in the right lane. There is Dixon. Give you an idea, this year, 12 times, Larry Dixon has had lane choice. 2 times, he has not. This is the 3rd. That's the kind of dominant performance that this team has had. While these guys are backing up, let's show you what happened to Corey Mack when he was climbing out of the cockpit of the car at the far end. And you think he's happy, Bill?
Your last 3 races with Joe Gibbs, you won 2, didn't qualify for that last race in Pomona. Corey Mack, I know you've been so anxious to get back out here. How big has this day been so far?
Well, I'll tell you, Kenny Bernstein, he's the man. You know, it's just, I don't even know what to say. It just feels so good to be back, and the guy's doing a great job. I just hope I'm doing proud. You know, it's real emotional. Thanks.
Well, that 470 is low ET of eliminations right now, so Corey Mack and the team have to be ecstatic.
You know, Tony Schumacher is interesting. They took the right-hand lane. Most people have been choosing the left lane, and you don't really know until you get up to the starting line what lane you're going to get in. So it's interesting. You know, Dick LaHaye may have thought that he was going to be tuning for the right lane, but you know, obviously Dan Olson felt something in that right lane. They ran good, 475 before. They decided to stay in it. Let's see what happens here.
Saw the win numbers by lane. Schumacher is 9 up and 7 down in his career against Dixon. Problems for Schumacher and our onboard camera, and the win light goes to Larry Dixon. 470 at 313 miles an hour, and by 1/1000th of a second, Corey McClenathan is going to have the lane choice. You want to talk about what looks to be a great matchup. This is going to be something. So Larry Dixon going to his 37th final. Funny cars coming up next. Back here at the NHRA Powerade Drag Racing Series, we're getting ready for semifinal action in Funny Car as we've got Tim Wilkerson and Tommy Johnson Jr. Now, Wilkerson, his last semifinal was Topeka 2001. TJ's last final appearance was St. Louis 2001. Of course, he's a defending race winner here. But right now, Tim Wilkerson, this team has been pumping.
Yeah, Tim Wilkerson has been real tough, but you know, the problem he's had is getting that car ready for 4 runs in a row on race day. Let's see what happens here.
Tire smoke, and Tommy Johnson is going to have a chance to repeat. He won it here last year, a 513 at 282 to losing 550. Now, Bill's at the far end with Larry Dixon, who is now the first man since Gary Selzy of the spring of 2000 to go to 4 straight finals.
15 rounds of racing, 14 wins, Larry. You got the best car out here.
Well, right now, you know, I mean, it's, you know, everybody kept talking about us and Kenny, us and Kenny, us and Kenny. Well, how about Corey? You know, I mean, last week they were running good at Gainesville, running good this week, you know, so it's going to be a tough race. You know, both cars run at 70, so it's, you pick them.
2 old friends reuniting in the Top Fuel final.
And for Don Perdome, not only a chance at Tommy Johnson repeating what he did for you here a year ago, but a chance for Larry Dixon. You could go 2 for 2 here.
Yeah, you bet. You know, the Skull guys are doing good. You know, it's a struggle running these funny cars with that new tire and everything, but Goodyear's doing a good job for us. And of course, having the Miller team in the final, that's always great. Just trying to keep it up.
Happy birthday again, my friend.
Del Worship's been a one-man wrecking crew when it comes to team force. This was first up, Tony Pedregon. Next up, it was John Force himself in a titanic struggle. And now the question is, can he make it 3 in a row and become the first ever to take out John Force's 3-car team? Johnny Great came 2/3 of the way, beating Densham and Tony back at Reading last year, and Del Worship beat Tony and Gary Densham, but both of them lost to John, thus keeping that string intact. Will it snap now? Let's find out. Not gonna happen. Gary Densham with a 504 at 290 miles an hour sends Del Worsham to the trailer with a 506 at 304.
You know, this race was all Gary Densham right from the start. Right from start to finish. He got the jump 476 light to 524 and never looked back.
So Gary Densham is going to have the lane choice over Tommy Johnson in the finals of Funny Car here at the SummitRacing.com National. Stay with us. When we come back, we still got Pro Stock and the factory hot rods coming your way. Along with Mike Dunn, Bill Stevens, Dave Reef, and Parker Johnstone, I'm Marty Reed, and we're glad you're with us here at round number 4 of 23 of the NHRA Powerade Drag Racing Series. Time now for the factory hot rods, and in this first semifinal, we've got 2 of the 3 guys that have won here so far in 2002. George Marnell over in the left lane, Darrell Alderman in the right lane, and if Alderman advances to the final, it'd be the first time that he would go to back-to-back finals since 1995.
You know, he's definitely got a shot at it. He's been driving very well. Both these guys are very quick on the lights, but they both ran 703 the previous round. Let's see what happens.
stripe. Darrell Alderman is going back to the finals with a hole shot. He cut a 4:35 light to Marnell's 4:68 and ran a 7:03 to the quicker but losing 7:02. So the Dodge Mopar heads to the finals. Now let's put a period on Funny Car. Catch up with Bill and Gary Dencham.
Gary Dencham, you won that round, but more importantly, you prevented Del Worsham from being the first driver to beat all the force cars in one day, and he would have taken the points lead if you didn't beat.
Well, I tell you, it's a long season. Those guys got a great team over there. They're going to be a battle all the way to the end, you know. But, I mean, this funny car deal is loaded with so much talent. It's unbelievable. But, you know, with John Force and Ford and, you know, all the help we got over there, it's, you know, we're doing a heck of a job over there, and we're plenty happy to be where we're at.
That's the whole concept of the multi-car team.
And back at the starting line, Jim Yates will be on the left lane, Ron Krischer in the right. And let's go to the far end quickly. Bill?
Boy, for a guy that got off to a kind of a wobbly start this season, how about 7 consecutive round wins now, and that one on a hole shot?
Well, you know, reaction time's not all in the driver. There's a lot of it in the car, and Ricky Smith and David Nickens are doing an awesome job.
Let me tell you something. This guy's a little too humble. He will steal the teeth out of your head at the starting line any chance he gets.
And it looks like Ron Krischer may have stolen the lane Jim Yates thought he had. There was a lane switch right before this pass, and I had a chance to talk to Tim Freeman, crew chief for Ron Krischer. He said they just kind of waited to the last moment because, after all, they've made their best passes out of that right lane, so why stray?
Well, we're going to find out if it pays off now. Krischer looking to go to his 7th final. Yates to his 54th. Krischer nails him on the tree. A 4:47 to a 5:26 light, and another. Look at this, 6:97, 198. That is low elapsed time of eliminations, Mike.
I'll tell you, Ron Krischer's done a great job. He's getting a lot of heat for his driving. 4:47 reaction time. He's gotten better every round today. He's on a roll. This car has obviously got the most horsepower. You see there, Jim Yates was never in it from the beginning. Ron Krischer and that horsepower just right there at the end and wasn't even close.
And he's going to have the lane choice and a chance to silence the critics because he's been driving very well today. And there's Ron Capps helping out that man right there, his teammate, Tommy Johnson. Back at round 4 of 23 of the NHRA Powerade Drag Racing Series, and it's time to decide who's going to take home the Wallies. Pro Stock, the factory hot rods are up first. And will it be Darrell Alderman, the number 14 qualifier, or Ron Krischer, the number 1 qualifier? He was amped after the semis.
Well, we just fixed the clutch linkage on this Eagle 1 Z24 Cavalier, and it's a bad son of a gun on the starting line. We had a lot of things wrong with this car we've had to work through. I know I can drive a car. I got confidence. I got more confidence every day. People have to beat me. I don't have to beat them.
And, of course, if you've been with us, Ron Krischer has been, shall we say, getting a lot of heat for his late driving off the line. Well, today's lights, a 483, a 457, and a 447, Mike Dunn.
Yeah, he's gotten better every round. That shows that he's getting comfortable in that race car. But Darrell Alderman, on the other hand, he hasn't been too bad. A 444, a 451, and a 435 last round. Ron Krischer just has to be within a few hundredths of him. He has that horsepower. If he can just not be any more than 2 or 3 hundredths behind Darrell leaving, he's going to probably win this race.
Krischer has the advantage off the line. And Krischer has the win. 7:01 to a 7:02. That's the slowest he's actually gone down the track. At 197, he'd been living in the 6s, the only car able to do it, but he had just enough and another good reaction time.
This was Ron Krischer from race from start to finish. A 479 light, normally not too good, but Darrell Alderman was way off with a 509. That Ron Krischer horsepower, there's just no way you're going to beat Ron Krischer with a 509 light. Here it is from the blimp, looking down on him. They look pretty even right there. And here comes that Ron Krischer horsepower. Just boom, right there. Isn't that pretty?
Our 4th different winner in Pro Stock this year. We had 15 of them last year, which was a record. Looks like we may be on our way to another one. Take a look at the crew. And now it's me. It's time for Funny Car. And first up, of course, it's going to be Gary Dencham, the number 4 qualifier. He'll be matched up against last year's winner here, Tommy Johnson Jr., the number 14 qualifier. And as the engines come to life, you're looking at Tommy Johnson. And let's get an update from Parker.
Marty, Mike, and I started our day There they go on the burnout. We'll wait just a moment. Walking the track with Tommy Johnson Jr. And Tommy's always laid back, but this morning he seemed particularly relaxed. Just before he got in the car, I said, Tommy, as a racer, did you know that today could be your day? And he said, to be honest with you, I didn't think we had a chance of getting this far. So he's even more relaxed than ever. He's cutting great lights. Today, he could give he and his boss, Don Perdome, every driver's favorite birthday present, a victory. They could be leaving this place singing Viva Las Vegas, baby.
Well, Tommy won here last year on his birthday, and he turned 34 yesterday. Don Perdome turned 61 yesterday. And let's go to the far end quickly and catch up with Ron Krischer. Bill?
A very excited Ron Krischer. And Ron, I guess you did what you had to do.
I did what I was expected to do today. This Eagle One Cavalier was on top of things. We're a little slow and spun a little bit that round, but I started just to build up confidence after the first round. I knew I could do what I had to do. I'm hard to beat on a tree when I'm on.
When the driver and the car are working on this team, these are usually the results.
Well, the one thing he definitely was on. Now, in this funny car matchup, Tommy Johnson, 5 career victories, but his last one was here a year ago. Gary Dencham going for career win number 3. His 2 came last year with John Force Racing. TJ's up in smoke. Dencham's got number 3. Although he slowed near the top end, he gets a 540 win light to a 544. TJ was coming on strong, but it ran out of racetrack, Mike.
Wow, this was a good race. You know, TJ smokes tires very early. Gary Dencham left the starting line, got off the line first. A good lead. The car looks very good going through that transition where they usually have trouble. No smoke or anything else. Right there, it just looked like all the candles went out. He had a cylinder out there on the right-hand side and lit it back up, and then the thing looked like it just kind of quit going down through there. Let's look from the top and see if we can tell. We know there was a cylinder out on the left-hand side. We can't see it from there. It looks like it almost looked like the cylinder went out, came back on, relit the cylinder, and then the thing just quit.
And the shot,
he got the win.
The shot from the Sanyo light shift was the best to show how quick TJ was closing. Dave Reef?
Well, let's start with Jimmy Prock. This win might have a little luster taken off it. The car broke at the finish line.
Yeah, it did, but, you know, we got the win, and it was a great team effort by everybody. We struggled a little bit coming up here, and everybody chipped in, and they did a great job, and we got the win.
John, Elvis may not have won today, but Elvis's team did.
No, Gary Dencham did, and that'll make AAA and Mustang happy, and Jimmy Prock, they did their job, and bottom line, we're just happy.
Now, all 3 of the Force cars have won this year, Bill.
And just by that much, there's the blower belt on Gary Dencham's Mustang that came off during the run. You know, that reminded me of the semifinals when Tommy had John Force in Phoenix, and John got around him. You were fit to be tied, but you still get the win light, Gary.
Oh, thank God. I can't believe it. I mean, the guys worked so hard. We heard it last round. They got it all together. And, you know, evidently just Belt gave up. You know, the Ford guys over there helping us the best they can. And I tell you, I heard him thundering. I mean, I thought he was going to spin me around when he came by in the lights. He was going so fast compared to what I was. But, oh, thank God. Hey, I'm going to put some big money down at the casinos tonight. If I'm that lucky, I want to win.
Las Vegas, look out.
There's the burnout for Larry Dixon in the Miller Lite Elvis Presley edition. And there is Corey Mack coming through the smoke. Number 1 qualifier, Larry Dixon took out Scott Wise, David Grubnick, and Tony Schumacher. And it's a matchup with number 2, Corey McClenathan. Corey eliminated Doug Coletta, Melanie Troxel, and Kenny Bernstein. And let's get an update on Corey from Parker Johnstone.
I always check on the rear tire condition before these cars go out. Owner Rick Hinkleman told me that Corey's tires are nasty, that anybody else would have thrown them away, but they're a match set. He said they've had them on the car all weekend long. He thinks they're going to beat that second beer car.
I'll tell you what, if he does, he moves into 3rd in the points. It will only be 5 behind Kenny Bernstein. Of course, Larry Dixon's going to come out of here with the points lead no matter what happens.
You know, this is a great matchup. Number 1 and number 2 qualifier in the final round, the way it should be. Larry Dixon didn't have lane choices in the right-hand lane. Dick LaHaye, though, he's a master at reading the track. He knows how to get these cars from A to B. But Corey McClenathan, he's been consistent all weekend. Wes Cerny knows how to run a race car. He's been around for as long as I can remember, since I was a kid. Back in when they had Don Moody driving for him back in the 60s and 70s. Both these guys are tremendously talented. I'm talking the crew chiefs and the drivers here.
where he has 26 Top Fuel wins, 4th all-time. Larry with 18. He can tie Gary Beck if he wins here. It's Elvis going to victory lane. Elvis has left the building. Larry Dixon, 463 to a 472. Don Perdome, happy birthday. And that is Louie T of the eliminations, partner.
Hey, what a great birthday present, Snake.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, you know, yeah. He said he wasn't going to be bashful, and he leaned on it. 63 is a great run, you know, with Elvis Presley Enterprises here with us, and, you know, Mac Tools, everybody. It's been great, you know, and it's a hell of a way to spend a birthday in Las Vegas here and win it. And just a great team, you know, and Dixon, everybody's got it together, and Lucas Oil's been great to us, too. They're the ones that get the oil in this thing to keep it running.
Viva Las Vegas, Dave.
Dick LaHaye has left the building as well, joining Elvis on a truly sensational day, exercising another demon.
I'm just beside myself. I mean, there's been 4 races. We've won 3 of them, been 4 final rounds. My guys, we had a lot of trouble in the second round and blew the blower off from it down at the finish line, and I got to take my hat off to them.
It's hard to believe that this team can be any stronger than they were a year ago, Bill, but they are.
I only have one word for Larry Dixon. Wow.
What did we run?
463, low AT of elimination.
Hey, that's Dick LaHaye, you know. It's just warm weather tune-up, you know. When we put this Elvis paint job on the car, I mean, he's the king of Las Vegas. I thought we might have pretty good odds, doing pretty well, and you know, but everybody on the Miller Lite team did good. Mac Tools, Skull, Lucas Oil, they were all strong. Hey, brother.
He will not be lonesome tonight.
Well, I'll tell you what, this is the first time in 3 finals he's ever beaten Corey McClenathan. He does it in style, and for the second time this year, he has run the table. Low ET, #1 qualifier, he's done it all.
What can you say about Dick LaHaye? That car ran 266 miles an hour at half track. He knows how to run one of them race cars. That's pretty aggressive for this type of track.
For Mike Dunn, Bill Stevens, Dave Reed, and Parker Johnson, I'm Marty Reed. Thanks so much for joining us. RPM Tonight is coming up next. This has been a presentation of ESPN, the worldwide leader in sports. For more, log on to ESPN.com. So long, everybody.
TSN, Canada's sports leader.